Understanding and coping with poor sleep. Part 2. How parents can help. Poor sleep is frustrating and can have a negative effect on family life. There may be arguments about bedtimes, disagreements about what might help to improve sleep. Parents may feel overwhelmed and unsure about what they can do to help their child. Relationships may become strained as parents take over or try to be more forceful. Conflict like this is not helpful and just makes things worse for all concerned. It increases stress within the family, makes your child feel more anxious and worried, which in turn may make it harder for them to fall and stay asleep. Try to put your emotions to one side and step back from what's going on. Talk with your child and understand how they are feeling about their sleep. It's often better to do this when everyone is feeling calm, so try talking during the daytime. Listen to what your child says and agree a plan together. Establish small, positive goals for how they can improve their sleep. By working together with your child to agree a plan and manageable goals, you will help them to feel more relaxed. What not to do. Try not to get angry. You may feel frustrated, but keep calm. Getting angry doesn't help and brings an increasingly negative focus to sleep, making it more of an issue. Don't try and take over. Whilst you might be tempted to take over and impose your own rules, this often leads to conflict and worsening relationships. No matter what you do, you can't make your child sleep. You can only help them to do it themselves. Don't expect change to be quick. Things like helping your child to shift their body clock may take time, so don't be disheartened. Remain positive and notice and comment on the small changes that have occurred. What parents can do to help. Tip 1. Help to develop a good sleep environment. Typically we sleep at night when it's darker, quieter and cooler than during the day when we are awake. Unsurprisingly, light, noise and being too warm can all negatively affect our sleep. To minimize the interference of these factors, it can be helpful to ensure your child's sleep environment is dark, quiet and cool. Light affects some of the chemicals our bodies make. One of these chemicals, melatonin, affects the sleep-wake cycle and tells us when it's time to go to sleep. Its production is affected by evening and nighttime light exposure, and this may make it harder to fall asleep. Try to reduce light in the bedroom and check that curtains and blinds are blocking out any outside light. Another common source of light comes from phones, laptops, and other electronic devices. Not only do these devices produce relatively intense light, they can also be emotionally stimulating, both of which affect how sleepy we feel. The simplest way to reduce exposure to artificial light is to encourage your child to turn off their smartphone, TV, and other gadgets well before bedtime. If the young person feels unable to do this completely, then cut back on screen time at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. Another option is to dim the brightness on devices. This is often called night or dark mode and emits less light. However, turning off these devices is still the best way to manage. To remind your child to do this, encourage them to set an alarm. A noisy environment can also disrupt your child's sleep. Noise as they prepare to sleep might distract or stimulate them, making it harder to fall asleep. Loud sounds during the night can startle your child and wake them up, particularly in the last half of the night. Reducing this is not always easy, but you can encourage your child to try earplugs, particularly if you live in a noisy neighborhood, or else use gentle white noise, such as the sound of a fan. If your child is disturbed by the noise of others in the house gaming or playing music, then consider a curfew for when this stops. Alternatively, they could continue, but only with headphones. When we sleep during the night, our body temperature naturally drops. If your room is too warm, it can be harder for your body to lose core body temperature, and you may find it harder to fall asleep. If your child's room gets very warm, try opening a window for a while before bed. Use a thin sheet or duvet, or turn down any radiators that may cause the room to become too warm. Tip 2. Encourage your child to develop a helpful nighttime routine. The links we make between our environment, stimuli, and activities are important. These can help to make our sleep become predictable and can help to improve our sleep. One good way to achieve this is to develop and keep to a regular and calming nighttime routine. Ensure that your child has time to wind down in the evening to relax before going to bed so that their body is prepared for sleep. Winding down before sleep is very important. An analogy to this might be decelerating in a car. This is something we have to do gradually before coming to a stop, rather than something we do abruptly. Preparing for sleep is similar. Winding down and having time to relax can help your child to prepare for sleep. Encourage your child to develop a relaxing bedtime routine for at least 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This could involve a relaxing bath, warm shower, or a milky drink. Quiet activities such as reading a book, doing a puzzle, listening to calming music, or perhaps some relaxation, mindfulness, or meditation exercises. Gaming, socializing, or activities that make them alert or excited should be avoided. Physical exercise should be avoided in the evening, since it activates us and can mask our sleepiness. Stop using electronic devices for at least an hour before bed, and if possible, leave them outside of the bedroom. The blue light they emit can interfere with sleep, but they also often stimulate us, for example, a text message coming in, and keep us alert, which interferes with sleep. Avoid caffeinated drinks. Caffeine is a stimulant found in coffee, tea, energy drinks, and drinks like Coke, which mask sleepiness. Caffeine has a half-life of around 6 hours, and so half the caffeine in a bottle of Coke or a cup of tea will still be in your system 6 hours later. If you're struggling with sleep, avoid caffeine. Tip 3. Encourage your child to only use their bed for sleeping. Many people spend a great deal of time in bed doing things other than sleeping. For instance, it's common nowadays for people to be on their phones streaming videos or music, social networking, or browsing the internet. Whilst doing these things in bed may help some people to unwind and feel more relaxed, spending time in bed awake can disrupt the bed-sleep association. This might mean that we begin to associate bed with lots of other activities and not with sleep anymore. This link is important, and so by limiting what we do in bed to just sleeping, our brain associates our bed with sleep, rather than with other activities which might keep us awake. This makes sleep predictable for the brain. When we get into bed, this is time for sleep. Adolescents often spend a lot of time in their bedroom and understandably want their own private space. If your child has a problem falling asleep, then encourage them to only use their bed to sleep. For anything else, say if there is another space they could use, for example, doing homework with headphones at the kitchen table rather than in bed, watching TV with the rest of the family, or on their phone with headphones on but in the same room as the family, rather than watching it in bed. Finding a comfortable chair or beanbag in their room on which to read, wind down, or look at their phone, rather than doing so in bed. Developing the link between bed and sleep will help your child to become better at falling asleep. Tip 4. Agree a regular rise and bedtime. Our body clocks and sleepiness cycles can change depending on the individual and the stage of life they're in. In adolescence, it's common for the body clock to experience a delay, meaning that adolescents often get tired later at night and wake up later the next day. This can be difficult when your child has to get up for school in the morning, as this delay can mean that they haven't had enough sleep. and so will understandably be tired and grumpy. Agree with your child a regular time that they will go to bed and when they will wake and get out of bed in the morning. This routine helps to set their body clock to a more regular cycle. At night time, don't push your child to go to bed too early when they're not tired. This may result in them lying in bed worrying about getting to sleep and worsening their sleep patterns. If they are a naturally late riser, forcing them to get up too early will likely be unhelpful. Instead, choose a time like a half-term or holiday at which to let them get up naturally, and then over the next few days gently move the rise time earlier by 15 to 30 minutes per morning. Make sure that the young person gets exposure to lots of natural light when they wake up, as this will help their sleep move forward. If your child is experiencing a large delay in their sleep timings and finds this too challenging, it can be helpful to consider going to see your GP and asking for further support with this process. Napping. To help reset your child's body clock, they will need to stop napping during the day. Napping takes away some of the natural sleepiness that arises during the day and which prepares us for a good night's sleep. If your child takes a nap, then they may feel less sleepy in the evening when they go to bed, making it harder for them to sleep. Work together with your child to help them reduce their napping. Tip 5. Help your child to stop worrying about sleep. People who have problems sleeping often find their minds are full of worries. They might lie in bed, going over in their mind what's happened and worrying about what might happen. Worrying about whether they will fall asleep or worrying about why they are not asleep. Worries like these create anxiety, which will stimulate your child and make it even more difficult to fall asleep. You can help your child by encouraging them to download their head and write down all their worries during their evening, around 2 or 3 hours before bed, so that they are not racing around when they are in bed. If they start to worry, encourage them to focus on the here and now, not the past or the future. Try to build a relaxing activity into your child's nighttime routine. Find the things they find relaxing, such as relaxation or breathing exercises, calming music, mindfulness, meditation, reading, or puzzles, and do them 30 minutes before they try to go to sleep. Reduce time lying in bed awake. Don't push your child to go to bed too early when they're not tired. This will give them more time to worry about getting to sleep and will make it harder for them to sleep. It's better to go to bed later when they're tired so that they are more likely to fall asleep quicker.